Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, we're continuing our series in the UA that came out recently, the Artificer. The Artificer was a class that was much loved and was surprisingly absent from the new player's handbook, and Wizards of the Coast remedied that by releasing the UA, hopefully releasing the actual official published Artificer soon. Normally, I don't cover UA, but my community specifically requested that I cover this one, so we're here talking about the Artificer, and today we're talking about their subclass, the Armorer. The Armorer being the Tony Stark Iron Man of the Artificer. In this fantasy world, yes, now we have armor that is so magical and so powerful that it in fact resembles the Marvel superhero. But how has it changed and what has been added? We'll get into the details of the Armorer in just a moment. But before we do, I'd like to let you know Relax Fantasy Review has memberships. For just $1 a month, you can support me here on YouTube and get a couple benefits. First, you get a little badge next to your name in the comments, letting folks know that you're a supporter. But also, you get early access to my videos. I upload videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I upload them a day early for members only. If that interests you, you can click the join button just down there next to the subscribe button. I'd love to see you in the comments with your member badges. And if it doesn't interest you, that's totally fine too. Just watching the video, liking, subscribing to the channel is a wonderful way to support me. Thank you very much for watching my content here on YouTube. So the Armorer, as with all classes, we choose our subclass at level 3. And we get a few things. We get Tools of the Trade. This grants us proficiency in Smith's Tools. If we already have proficiency in Smith's Tools, then we can pick any tools we like, so that's cool. That's a nice little benefit. You also can use the crafting system in the Player's Handbook and Dungeon Master's Guide to craft armor, and you can do it in half the time that it would normally take. This is a nice little utility buff for the crafters out there. But unlike most artificers, we also get heavy armor proficiency. This is going to be important later on. But yeah, heavy armor proficiency just widens our defenses up and lets us wear heavy armor, which is fantastic. I call this Tools of the Trade feature 10 out of 10. You also get an expanded spell list of spells that are always prepared, and they brought the heavy hitters to this one. You've got Magic Missile and Thunder Wave. You've got Mirror Image. You've got Lightning Bolt and Hypnotic Pattern. You've got Greater Invisibility. You've even got Wall of Force. You've got a myriad of super spells that come from the list that aren't normally available to artificers, and they're just always prepared for you. 10 out of 10. No questions asked. This is arguably the best list that the Artificer has access to in their subclasses. Finally, you get the Arcane Armor and Armor Model features. Arcane Armor says that you can enchant a suit of armor when you finish a rest. The suit of armor gains some benefits. First, any strength prerequisites you do not have to meet to wear it. This means that if you don't have the 15 strength you would have to wear plate armor, you don't suffer the movement speed penalty. You can also take the armor off and on with a utilize action. And the armor cannot be removed against your will, and it can be a focus for your spell casting, so you can just use your armor to cast your spells. All this is cool. When you finish a short or long rest, you can use your Smith's Tools to turn the armor into one of 3, yes, you heard me right, 3 different armor types. That used to be 2, they've actually added 1. The first one is the brand new one, and it's called the Dreadnought. The Dreadnought comes with a ball and chain reach weapon. It's a 1d10 bludgeoning weapon, simple melee, with a 10-foot reach, so you swing it and you hit a creature with it. You can utilize your intelligence for the attacks instead of your strength or dexterity. The armor also has the ability intelligence modifier times per long rest, so that's 3 to 5 times a day. You can use a bonus action and grow to large size for 1 minute. This is just a really handy thing to do to make you very imposing, and with that extra reach that you've got, a commanding presence on the battlefield. Very strong. Um, the other thing you can do with that ball and chain is that if you are bigger than a creature, so when you grow to large size, this would mean medium-sized creatures and smaller. When you hit them with your wrecking ball, you can knock them 10 feet away or 10 feet towards you as you see fit. This is actually kind of cool that you aren't just pushing them, you can pull them as well. This is almost like the push weapon mastery, but better. Um, it has to be a creature smaller than you, though. So if you don't grow to large size, it's only small or smaller. And if you do grow to large size, it's medium or smaller. So it's a little bit limited in that respect. But still, battlefield control and pushing creatures around with no saving throw, by the way, is pretty solid. The second armor model you can be is the Guardian. This is one of the old-time favorites. The Guardian armor gives you Thunder Gauntlets. They're punch-based attacks. And yeah, they are a D8 of thunder damage when you hit with them. When you hit with them, they get the dampening field effect, basically making it so that if the target of your attack tries to hit anyone else other than you, they have disadvantage on the attack. This is one of the best soft taunts in the game, basically forcing enemies to hit you if they want to be effective. On top of that, if you are bloodied, which is a condition that means you have less than half of your hit points, you can use a bonus action to give yourself temporary hit points equal to your Artificer level. This is actually an unlimited feature. Notice it just says if you're bloodied. So, if you're a level 10 Artificer and let's say you have 80 hit points, once you're under 40 hit points, every turn as a bonus action, you can give yourself 10 temporary hit points and then go to town with your fists, forcing enemies to focus on you. And then the next turn, let's say you take, 15 damage, you're actually down to 35 hit points, and then you use your bonus action to give yourself 10 more. You can just do this infinitely as long as you're conscious. You lose the temp HP if you doff the armor. Not sure why you'd do that, but, it's a thing. Yeah, this makes you one of the best tanks in the whole game. It really shores up your hit points, and forcing enemies to attack you, or at least as close as you can, is pretty solid. The last armor model is the Infiltrator model. The Infiltrator gets a lightning launcher. This is a simple ranged weapon. It's got a range of 90 feet, and when you fire it, it does 1d6 lightning damage. Once per turn, you can add an extra d6 to that lightning damage, so really it's 2d6 lightning damage with one shot. You also get a movement speed increase of 5 feet, so if you have a 30-foot movement speed, now it's 35. And you get advantage on your stealth checks if you're wearing this armor. If the armor naturally gives you disadvantage because it's heavy armor, for example, it just cancels out as advantage and disadvantage would. So it makes you sneakier in heavy armor. And if you're wearing like medium armor that doesn't give you disadvantage naturally, like breastplate or something, then it actually gives you advantage legitimately. And you can make any armor into this. If you have studded leather and you have a decent dexterity, this could actually work well and give you permanent advantage on stealth checks. Now, what's coolest about these armor models is that you don't have to stick with one. If you have, your set of plate mail or whatever, you can just change which model you're using with a short rest or a long rest and your smith's tools. So at any time, you can switch between these three armor models, not in the midst of combat, but still, it's a nice utility feature to be able to swap between basically knocking creatures around, being the ultimate tank, or being the ultimate infiltrator with a ranged attack. All of these are good. All of them are solid, and I give Armor Model and Arcane Armor overall 10 out of 10. This is all at 3rd level, by the way. You can get all of these options at level 3. As if that wasn't enough, at level 5, Artificers get extra attack. So now your big Wrecking Ball is hitting for 2d10 plus your modifier per turn. Your Guardian Gauntlets are hitting for 2d8. Your Lightning Launcher is hitting for 3d6, because remember, one of the shots you can add an extra d6 to, so that's 2d6 for the first, 1d6 for the second shot. Yeah, extra attack is extra attack, and all of this is solid. I give that 9 out of 10. Now at level 9, you get the power Armor Replication, and this doesn't actually change your arcane armor in any way. What it basically does is it gives you an extra replicate magic item blueprint or plan, and an extra magic item you can replicate with your level 2 Artificer feature. They just have to be armor, specifically. So basically, this just makes it so you can craft more magical armor with your replicate magic item feature, if you want to. Which you probably will, to be fair. Making your arcane armor out of magical armor would be solid. It's just a shame that this is the only thing you get. You get one more magic item you can make, and one more plan that you can do. As long as it's armor, you get it. So 8 out of 10. I mean, you could have done this anyway with your replicate magic item. By level 9, you can make like 4 of them, I think. So getting a 5th one is fine. You know, it frees up a magic item that you can replicate from something else. You probably already had magic armor though, so, you know, whatever. 8 out of 10 for this one. Finally, level 15 comes along and we get Perfected Armor, and this adds more features to each of your suits. First of all, the Dreadnought. The Dreadnought, when you go big, when you use your bonus action to grow, you can grow to huge sized if you want to. Your reach will increase by 10 feet, giving you a full 20-foot reach on your Wrecking Ball. Also, your Wrecking Ball will do 2d6 damage instead of 1d6, or instead of 1d10, so a slight damage bump. Oh, and you get a fly. You can fly now with your armor while you're huge. So yeah, you're in the Hulkbuster armor effectively with this thing, flying and huge. You're gonna knock dragons out of the sky in this thing. The Guardian armor, on the other hand, it gets its Thunder Gauntlets upgraded to a D10 instead of a D8. Again, a small damage bump. And it is, yeah, it's just a solid thing to be dampening creatures with your dampening field. Now, if they go to attack creatures, if a creature ends its turn within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to pull them away from your allies. You can use your reaction, they make a strength save against your spell save DC, and you yoink them towards you 25 feet. If they land within 5 feet of you, you can then use the same reaction that you used on that target to make an attack against them. So now you're defending your allies even better by just Scorpion, get over here, anyone who tries to attack them. And then once you hit them with your gauntlets, now they have disadvantage on attacks against anyone else, just like before. So yeah, you're doing a little more damage, and you're way better of a protector. Finally, the lightning launcher on the Infiltrator armor goes up to 2d6 naturally. So now you're doing 2d6 with each shot plus an extra d6 once a turn anyway. And yeah, you definitely are getting you're getting a power boost from that. And when you shoot a creature with your lightning launcher, if they try to attack you, then they get jolted and take a bit of damage, or have disadvantage rather on the attack as they try to attack you. So the Infiltrator armor actually works opposite to the Guardian, where it's granting disadvantage on attacks against you versus the Guardian's disadvantage on attacks against anyone else. So it's the ultimate, I don't want to get hit armor. So when you zap someone with your lightning launcher, they have a harder time hitting you. A solid feature to be sure. So let's recap. If you're the Dreadnought, you get huge, a bigger reach, and you can fly. If you're the Guardian, you can grab people and pull them towards you, and you do extra damage, and can reaction attack. And if you're the Infiltrator, you're granting disadvantage against creatures you hit, as they glow with lightning, and your gauntlets do extra damage as well. Are we missing anything? I don't think so. I think we're hitting 10 out of 10 here. Overall, the Artificer is one of the strongest, or sorry, the Armorer Artificer is one of the strongest subclasses that we've got. You got it all here. You've got the variety to meet most situations, whether you're being an attacker, a defender, or an infiltrator. You've got a massively powerful offensive-based spell list. You've got heavy armor proficiency, and you've got extra attack, and eventually you get flight and way more battlefield control. It's 10 out of 10. The armor is just one of the coolest artificers out there. I think that they're well deserving of the 10 out of 10, and honestly, I hope that Wizards of the Coast doesn't change a thing. I don't think they're overpowered. I think they are powerful and well deserving of being up there with some of the best subclasses in D&D. I would love to see an armorer at my table. I'd be thrilled. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for this one. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below. Have a look for the join button down there, and keep your eyes peeled for more subclass reviews coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.